Just as everyone thought my clumsy fall was a pathetic attempt to tackle the school goddess and force her into my arms, I forcefully twisted my entire body mid-air and tackled my sweet childhood friend standing right next to her instead. But in that exact split second, my childhood friend actually held the watermelon in her hands way up high. We both slammed hard onto the pavement and froze. Then, she brutally pushed me away just to inspect her precious watermelon. Only after confirming her stupid fruit was completely untouched did she finally look at me, smiling awkwardly and asking, "Haha, Achen, are you okay?" I was utterly speechless. Zhang Yanyan literally cared more about a dumb green melon than my entire existence. I growled, "Zhang Yanyan, is your damn watermelon really that important?" She panicked, thinking, "Oh crap, he is using my full name." She knew she was in deep trouble. Meanwhile, Shi Yan and the surrounding crowd were left standing there completely dumbfounded. Primal survival instinct told everyone this question was an absolute death trap. She quickly squeaked, "You are important. Of course, you are way more important." The crowd cheered for her, but honestly, I was secretly scared out of my wits too. That was just her pure survival instinct talking. But then someone blurted out, "Really? Talk about a brave, suicidal soul. A conditioned reflex, is it?" I stared her down with a sarcastic grin, then leaned in and hard-pinched her soft cheek. "Your body is pretty honest, is it not?" Right after saying that, I snatched the watermelon straight out of her hands and marched out of the cafeteria without looking back, leaving poor Zhang Yanyan standing all alone. She whimpered to herself, "I am innocent. My brain just completely short-circuited and I did not mean to do that." Chi-Chi walked over and patted her shoulder, sighing, "Girl, your first answer was actually totally fine. That last part was just completely unnecessary." Back in my dorm, I kept thinking about that crazy dream. What if I am really stuck in a book? What if I am destined to be the universally hated, trashy male villain? Normally, today would just be a funny mishap. But in that vision, the girl I actually embraced was Shi Yan. There is no escaping this. You can see where this is going, right? The plot is starting, but I'm absolutely not going to be that pathetic book version of Qing Chen. I will never embarrassingly simp over a girl like he did. I will solely rely on myself. Tomorrow, classes officially begin. Later that night, Zhang Yanyan begged me to visit the street food market. The second I stepped outside, she was already waiting there. She looked like a ridiculous walking vending machine. That outfit was so incredibly ugly it made my eyes hurt. She ran up shouting, "Achen, listen to me. I know I messed up. Please stop being angry and smile for me." Feeling all the judgment from passing students and staring at her embarrassing getup, I seriously wanted the ground to swallow me whole. Squabbling with this little goofball is just beneath me. I told her, "Your punishment is buying me breakfast early every single morning for a month." She immediately saluted, "You got it, boss. This humble servant is absolutely honored to serve my master Chen." Zhang Yanyan flashed a ridiculously goofy grin, so I decided to raise the stakes after this, run 2 laps and do 20 sit-ups. While it does not sound like much, for a lazy girl like her, any physical activity was basically cruel torture. She tried to negotiate, "What if I get you breakfast for an entire month and a half instead?" Zhang Yanyan started bargaining, batting her eyes at me pitifully. She was actually pretty cute, but that hideous snack outfit made it impossible to take her seriously. I glared, "Are you telling me what to do?" She squeaked, "Absolutely not. I would never dare." Zhang Yanyan instantly chickened out, pulling her head back in fear. She frantically handed all her snacks to the dorm manager, then stood straight at attention, her voice dripping with pure, adorable sadness. She yelled out, "I will complete the mission." After that, we tore through the food stalls, stuffing our faces before heading back satisfied. Back in my room, I washed up and got comfortable in bed, desperately trying to piece together that weird dream. I needed to map out the upcoming plot. First major event, running directly into the main female lead. Second event, a convenient meeting inside the library. Third, crossing paths out on the sports field. After that, it was just nonstop creepy stalking. Honestly, that vision was a total chaotic mess with a ridiculous number of forced encounters. Basically, every single one of those accidental meetings was meticulously planned beforehand. Realizing this actually made me breathe a massive sigh of relief. The original book character had tracked her schedule down to the exact second. As long as I do not purposely stalk her, we will have absolutely zero reason to interact, since she is not in any of my classes. The odds of us randomly crossing paths are practically zero. Thinking about it this way completely put all my anxiety to rest. I slept like a baby. The next morning was over in a heartbeat, leading straight to our first afternoon physical education class. Before the coach arrived, everyone crowded under the trees, gossiping about the class representative elections scheduled for later tonight. I was just chatting with Yu Peng when someone suddenly tapped on my shoulder. I spun around to find Zhou Nianian flashing her pearly whites and smiling brightly, calling out my name in surprise. Our classes actually had gym together, so Yu Peng playfully greeted my childhood friend, Zhou Nianian, as she walked over. Zhou Nianian pulled me aside, asking if this gym session could somehow cancel out her 1,000 meters from this morning. I agreed, but increased her sit-ups to 30, so she promised to complete them later when she had free time. She promised to complete them tonight, but right as she left, another classmate, Hu Ruiyi, came over asking about our relationship. I dismissed the boyfriend talk, making Hu Ruiyi chuckle softly while staring at me with undeniable interest in her eyes. Hearing we were not dating made her smile, saying things just got a lot easier. Yu Peng and I were just standing by the sports equipment shed when a loud shout suddenly echoed across the field, and watch out. A stray basketball came flying straight at my face. Just as I raised my hands to catch it, a girl suddenly jumped right in front of me. She completely lost her balance and crashed straight into me, sending us both tumbling to the ground as my palms scraped brutally against the rough dirt. Seeing my hands bleeding and torn, a sudden flash of worry and heartache crossed Shi Yan's cold eyes. Seriously, talk about absolute terrible luck. The sports field is always the ultimate high-risk zone in these school stories. How on earth did I forget that classic cliché? What an idiot. She asked if I was okay, explaining she just reacted without thinking. She only wanted to protect me from the impact but ended up causing a painful accident. As she offered to take me to the clinic, Yu Peng immediately snapped at her for being reckless. He yelled that if she had not interfered, I would have easily caught the basketball without getting hurt at all. It was a miracle I did not hit my head, while a huge crowd began gathering around us. Even though Shi Yan usually completely avoided guys, she crouched down to help me up while I quickly opened my eyes and scanned the growing crowd. Someone in the crowd yelled, asking where Jiang Yan was, only for another voice to reply she was not around. She kept insisting on taking me to the clinic herself, but I absolutely did not want to get tangled up with her. I tried to limp away on my own, but Yu Peng held me back, telling me to stop acting tough. He pointed out that our school campus is absolutely massive, and trying to hop over there alone would take forever, so I should just stop being stubborn and let her help. I sighed, rolled my eyes, and quickly hatched a pretty clever backup plan. I spotted a chubby girl hovering at the edge of the crowd and called out, asking if she could guide me to the clinic instead. Shu Qiqi froze right where she stood, her face turning bright red under the intense and confused stares of everyone around us. I told her the school was too massive for me to find the clinic on my own, begging for her help. Hearing this, Shi Yan furrowed her delicate brows, completely baffled and hurt by my sudden rejection. She wondered why I was choosing a random stranger over her when she was standing right there beside me, questioning if she had done something wrong. Ignored by me, Shi Yan watched as Shu Qiqi nervously guided me through a crowd of jealous onlookers. Realizing that I was walking far too slowly, she kindly took the initiative to support me while Shi Yan, Hu Ruiyi, and a few other students followed close behind us. Yu Peng and the other guys offered to tag along, but I politely told them it was no big deal. Having a massive crowd follow me to the nurse would just look ridiculous, dramatic, and completely unnecessary. Once inside the clinic, Shu Qiqi gently helped me onto the cot, carefully rolling up my sleeves and pants with quiet care. The nurse immediately gasped at my state, asking how on earth I had managed to take such a terrible fall. Hu Ruiyi quickly piped up, explaining that I had been blindsided by a flying basketball. The nurse nodded as she examined my raw knees and palms, asking if anything else felt broken or sore. Honestly, the searing pain in my hands was completely overwhelming, so I could not even tell if anything else was actually injured. The school doctor then asked all the girls to wait outside so she could perform a proper checkup without any distractions. Soon after, she finished her examination and grabbed the disinfectants to clean my wounds. The second that harsh iodine touched my open flesh, a sharp sting surged through my body. I gritted my teeth and refused to make a sound, only letting out a quiet groan when the burning got too intense. My silent struggle clearly worried the girls, and Shu Qiqi softly whispered that I did not have to hold it in. The doctor eventually finished cleaning the dirt out of my knees and bandaged the bruises. Since my palms took the absolute worst of the crash, the real treatment was just starting. So they end up wrapped in bandages until they look like two giant steamed buns, before the nurse says she is putting medicine on his back. The school nurse glances at the girls and playfully asks if they are going to head back outside. Hearing that my back needs medicine, the three girls blush and obediently slide out the door. Before long, the nurse calls them back inside and warns them to be way more careful during ball games from now on. You cannot just ignore safety for a game. Look at these bad injuries. How is he even going to eat or write for the next few days? She adds that we need to keep the wounds totally dry, watch him closely, and bring him back in 2 days to change his dressings. Finally, the nurse looks right at me and says she has got some special medicine for me to take. She tells me to spray my knees and back daily, and after finishing her long list of instructions, she waves us away. Huo Rui quickly jumps in, telling Kichi she worked hard and offering to take over helping Ching Chen. She reaches out, but naive, Kichi just thinks she is being polite, waving her hand and saying she is not tired at all. It is totally fine. Standing nearby, Shi Yan feels like something is pretty off with me today, but she is not completely sure, so she just stays quiet and lets them bicker. Right then, things shift. Zhou Nianian rushes in like a total whirlwind, her heart completely breaking when she sees my miserable state. She glares at Shi Yan and Huo Rui with a cold snort, then turns to me gently, promising to help Achen get back to class. Before she even finishes speaking, Zhou Nianian is already right next to my bed, reaching out to support me. I give Shu Kichi an apologetic smile, saying thank you, but having her help me is just a bit more convenient. Back in the classroom, I sit at my desk, and soon Wu Rui walks over, blushing furiously as she slams a cup of hot water down. Her face is completely red this time, and she does not dare say a single word before scurrying right back to her seat. I just stare at that cup of hot water, completely dumbfounded. I know she means well and I am actually kind of thirsty, but in my current state, just using the bathroom is a massive struggle. Do I really need more hot water? Honestly, you have to laugh because apparently, hot water cures literally everything in this world. I finally managed to survive all my afternoon classes. Then I get a text from Zhou Nianian asking if I want to eat at the cafeteria or she should bring takeout back. I definitely do not want to be stared at like some zoo animal at the cafeteria, so I quickly reply to bring the food back and meet at the plaza. After waiting for most students to clear out, I limp over to the restroom before slowly making my way to the campus plaza. Zhou Nianian arrives right on cue carrying 2 lunchboxes, so we sit down at a stone table and start eating together. As she eats, Zhou Nianian tells me to just reach out to Yang Jiajia if I need anything soon. Since Yang Jiajia is apparently my class bestie, I just keep eating and say it is fine. My knees will heal in a few days. Then Zhou Nianian mentions that her mom wanted to check in on how I am adapting to school as an exchange student here. She says she did not mention my injuries, but her mother apparently has a recent client who goes to our very school. She wanted to know if I am still taking on new jobs. Zhou Nianian glances down at my bandaged, steamed bun hands and mutters that I should probably just rest, since I am not exactly broke. I casually ask between bites if they really go to our school, since I do not seem to remember anyone like that. Apparently, they reached out before when we were still in Beijing, but it was just too far for them to hire me back then. Now that they know I am back as an exchange student, they asked her mom to set it up again, so I reach out. I ask Nianian to send over the client details so I can look, and she immediately shares the file right away. She shares it but warns that her mother does not think I should take it, though after skimming it, this client seems pretty high quality. Super low requirements and crazy high pay? Seriously, who would ever turn down an angel client like that? Zhou Nianian hesitates for a moment, asking if Achen is absolutely sure he does not want to rest up first. She jokingly asks if I am totally obsessed with money, and after the last bell rings, I decide to take my time leaving. Yu Peng stays behind to wait for me as well, and once the hallways finally clear out, Zhou Nianian comes over to meet us. Surprisingly, Huo Rui and Shi Yan are following right behind her. Shi Yan feels like she needs to take full responsibility since I got hurt because of her, but frankly, just seeing them gives me a massive headache. The entire campus is completely bustling with students right now. With Zhou Nianian holding me up on one side and 2 gorgeous girls trailing behind, we look like some famous celebrity walking with his massive entourage. Talk about a tragic setup. This is literally the classic opening for a petty villain in a trashy power fantasy novel. The flashy guys who start off looking so glamorous, they always get exposed and suffer the worst falls later. As Zhou Nianian held me up, I seriously wished I could just faint right there. Staring at the clueless female leads while knowing my tragic fate as cheap cannon fodder made me feel like my whole life was just fading to black. Once I got back to the dorm, I added the contact Zhou Nianian sent over. They accepted the request instantly, and we set up a casual meeting for the day after tomorrow. With that out of the way, I finally relaxed, hoping for some peace. But then, right around 8 p.m., things took a crazy turn. The campus online forum completely exploded. Someone had uploaded a snapshot of my fall, and it spread like wildfire across the school. That photo showed my messy hair covering half my face, captioned by the sneaky uploader with a simple "You are welcome." The entire thread erupted with people absolutely losing their minds over my appearance, literally calling me their new favorite god. Everyone agreed those looks make him a top-tier candidate for campus idol, especially with that fragile, tragic vibe that melts hearts. Naturally, the haters showed up right on cue, complaining that everyone was acting like desperate, wild dogs. They claimed it was a cheap trick, calling me quite average and saying I am miles behind our wealthy young master. Then the bystanders chimed in to stir the drama, pointing out how the jealousy from the previous comments was practically dripping through the screen. Word is, this new transfer student comes from a pretty ordinary, average family. Meanwhile, young Master Du's family has billions in Beijing, and he and Shi Yan are the ultimate childhood sweethearts. How could some broke exchange kid ever compete with him? Anyway, the next afternoon, everyone was just hanging out and gossiping after class. Suddenly, chaos broke out outside. Some loud guy barged right in with his squad, demanding to know who Qing Chen was, while I just sat there eating a lollipop. Annoyed by the sudden interruption, I stood up and asked who he was and what he wanted, as Chen Shuo eyed me up and down. He figured I was somewhat good-looking, but in his mind, there was absolutely no way I could ever compare to his own level. Strutting over with a smirk, he introduced himself as Chen Shuo and noted I was the new transfer kid. Watch this. He asks why he's never heard of me in his elite circle, making me raise an eyebrow in amusement. He was obviously trying to feel me out to see if I had any real backing, though I only remembered him as a late-game boss. The guy was actually quite a big deal in Beijing, but Du Yuming always overshadowed him in the most pathetic way possible. So what exactly did he want with me? Meanwhile, a classmate noticed the tension and bolted next door to call for backup. Shouting as she ran, she warned everyone that Chen Shuo brought a whole gang of guys to corner Qing Chen. Hearing the news while chatting with Huo Rui and Shi Yan, Yang Jiazhou lost her temper and immediately rushed back to protect him. Jun Yinian also rushed straight to the scene, quickly taking a stand right by my side. Facing him with a completely nonchalant look, I admitted my family is quite broke and we can only afford cheap lollipops. I even agreed that my family is definitely not part of the high society elite, leaving him completely stunned and frustrated. He panicked inside, wondering how I could be so cunningly confident while admitting to being completely broke. How was he supposed to act tough now? Clearing his throat to hide his shock, he demanded to know if I was trying to steal the campus idol title from Du Yuming. I instantly told him no, I am not worthy, which made Chen Shuo complain internally about how unfair this was. Can you believe this guy? He was actually throwing a fit because I stole his line about being totally unworthy. He hated that I was not playing by the rules, finding my complete lack of ego incredibly annoying. A protagonist should act like one. Frustrated by my casual attitude, Chen Shuo relentlessly kept trying to push my buttons. He sneered, asking if I even realized the immense status Du Yuming and Shi Yan hold in Beijing. They have been sweethearts since childhood, perfectly matched in status as innocent playmates, making them a literal match made in heaven. Before he could finish, I cut in to enthusiastically declare that I shipped them too. Shi Yan, who had just walked in, knit her brows and sighed softly, feeling quite wronged by my words. She wondered why Qing Chen thought that when she and Du Yuming were platonic, while Chen Shuo stared at me with a dark, furious expression. Standing right behind Chen Shuo, Shu Zikai saw his leader losing the argument and started getting pretty anxious. He couldn't believe this new transfer student was so tough to handle, deciding he absolutely had to step in and help Chen Shuo. Clearing his throat, Shu Zikai glared at me and sneered that it is good. I understand there is zero chance between me and Miss Shi. Hearing his ridiculous words, I just burst out laughing. Then I let out a self-deprecating chuckle. Of course, there's absolutely no chance. I don't have some crazy wealthy background. Besides this handsome face and a smart brain that only knows how to study, I'm completely out of the young ladies' league. Honestly, I'm pretty much good for nothing else. After saying that, I looked him dead in the eye. My gaze couldn't have been more sincere. Instantly, the crowd absolutely blew up. My deskmate Yu Zecheng secretly gave me a thumbs up, and Yang Jiajia looked completely smitten, thinking this quiet guy is actually incredibly savage. She absolutely loved it. She knew nobody could ever mess with him. Shi Yan, on the other hand, glared at me with intense resentment, her eyes begging me not to misunderstand things between her and Du Yuming. Chen Shuo was quite surprised. He was clearly at a major disadvantage now. He could only smile awkwardly, telling me I didn't have to put myself down since he just came over to make friends. I put on a completely sincere face and replied, "Oh, is that so? Seeing you walk in so aggressively, I thought you wanted to pick a fight. Your way of making friends is certainly pretty unique." Hearing this, Chen Shuo took a step back. He realized this transfer student was definitely not simple. He was on a whole other level, and his own move today was way too hasty. He thought the kid would be an easy target, but never expected him to be so sharp-tongued. He just gave a polite, stiff smirk and said we were overthinking it. Since class was starting, they would be leaving now. That whole group had arrived incredibly high and mighty, only to scurry away like absolute cowards. Once they cleared out, Yu Zeking immediately patted my shoulder, praising how incredibly badass and cool I had just been. He was terrified I was going to get bullied. Zhao Nian also walked over, nodding that it wasn't bad at all. He knew I wouldn't let myself get pushed around, but wondered why the guy wanted trouble. I just shot him a glance, handed over my water bottle, and scoffed, as if that loser could ever bully me. Go get me some water. Lu Jingyan, sitting right in the back, suddenly spoke up, stammering that he might know why. Everyone turned to look, filled with intense curiosity. He explained that last night, literally everyone on the school forum was praising me. You guys might not know this, but Chen Shuo is the eternal second place. He is always crushed under Du Yuming. He couldn't stand that a new transfer student was already being idolized by everyone. Feeling highly threatened, he wanted to come over and teach me a lesson. Look at this drama school is getting lively. Chen Shuo definitely felt my presence here was threatening his spot. He was already stuck in second place, and now he is probably terrified he cannot even keep that spot. Hearing about this massive amount of drama was a total eye-opener. Huo Ruiye from the next class quickly teased Shi Yan. She teased her that her precious Achen was even shipping her with Du Yuming. Shi Yan just sighed. Deep down, she knew there was absolutely nothing going on between her and Du Yuming. But since they were kids, everyone just assumed they would end up together. She used to be too lazy to clarify, but hearing it from me today really rubbed her the wrong way. Her family was extremely open-minded. As long as a guy had great character, that was literally all that mattered. But didn't my words totally imply that she only cared about guys from wealthy backgrounds? She thought I was being so annoying, wondering why I would misunderstand her like that when she is clearly not like that. When I woke up the next day, my injured knee was feeling significantly better. After being stuck inside all day yesterday, I could finally walk upright again. I had an appointment to meet a client at the cafeteria, and Zhao Nian accompanied me. My friend warned me that if this client seemed too difficult, I should just drop the tutoring gig and focus on classes. I should just focus on studying and earning scholarships. I nodded, knowing what he meant, but this client was right on my way. Besides, don't you already know how incredibly good my grades are? After that, I texted the client that I was already at the spicy hot pot stall on the second floor of the cafeteria, third row on the right. She replied that she would be right there. I looked toward the entrance, and sure enough, a chubby female student walked in. I immediately waved her over, and she headed our way. The moment she spotted me, her face instantly turned bright beet red. Lin Anu didn't even dare to look me in the eye since she rarely spoke to guys. She thought, oh my god, it is really him. This is the exact transfer student everyone is talking about. He is incredibly handsome. But right now, this handsome guy was sitting directly across from her with zero disgust in his eyes, which only made her feel 10 times more nervous. While Lin Anu stared at me, I quietly observed her too. Feeling my gaze, a sudden wave of sheer embarrassment and frustration welled up inside her. It was an incredibly awful feeling. She fought back her tears and hung her head in frustration. Her parents had totally lied to her. They promised they found a highly recommended professional trainer around her age, but this was a disaster. They said even if she did not lose weight, she could at least make a friend. But he is a guy, and way too handsome. How could he possibly be a professional weight loss coach? She felt totally humiliated by her parents, and honestly, you can't blame her for regretting this while our main character has absolutely no clue. So he just followed his master plan. He introduced himself, saying his name was Qin Chen. He explained her parents hired him to help her lose weight, then asked for her name. Lin Anu replied coldly, greeting him as a new student. She introduced herself as Lin Anu. Qin Chen nodded and asked if she had ever tried losing weight before. Lin Anu's brain was totally short-circuiting. She just followed his lead, admitting she had tried dieting, workouts, and even weight loss pills. She tried everything, but then, a voice questioned whether she actually stuck with the workouts. Zhao Nian was the one who asked. Only then did Lin Anu notice her, and seeing the gorgeous girl's stunning looks made her heart sink in dismay. She quietly answered no. Zhao Nian simply nodded without saying another word. Qin Chen seriously warned her that she cannot rely on dieting because exercise is the absolute key. He promised to accompany her workouts and monitor her food, but she had to listen to his training. When asked if she could commit, Lin Anu resentfully muttered that if she had self-discipline, she wouldn't be in this shape. She openly admitted she only sought help because she had absolutely zero self-control, which only made Qin Chen smirk. He replied that was exactly why he was there, since losing weight is always painful. He promised to work out right alongside her on the track, making the painful journey much less lonely. Having someone to run and play badminton with actually sounded like a wonderful dream to Lin Anu's ears. She had never had any real friends at school before. Finally, feeling accepted by someone, she drifted deep into her own thoughts until Qin Chen suddenly shifted his tone. He gently assured her they would not force her, but before he could even finish, Lin Anu interrupted him. She agreed immediately, and Qin Chen praised her bravery with a look of admiration. With the deal officially sealed, they agreed to eat their meals together, planning around her free periods. Whenever she was free, the three of them grabbed quick meals together before heading back. Back at her dorm, Lin Anyu washed up and crawled into bed, only to find an anxious text from her mom. Her mom asked if they met, and Lin Anyu anxiously texted back, asking why she hid his gender. Her mom replied that gender did not matter, so she should not be shy. She added that this young man was actually quite skilled, so she should just try it with nothing to lose. If you lose weight and find a handsome boyfriend, wouldn't that be pretty great? Reading this made Lin Anyu feel a mix of shyness and annoyance. But then, her phone lit up with a text asking if she liked sports. She was startled since barely anyone texted her at night. She replied that she hated sports and honestly just preferred lying down. After reading her message, Qin Shen thought for a moment and listed badminton, volleyball, and table tennis. He said they would try them all until they found the one sport she hated the absolute least. Now, you have to remember she has mild social anxiety and froze up. But just as she was about to ignore him, another message arrived. He invited her to eat breakfast tomorrow, saying he would wait for her at the cafeteria. Early the next morning, Nian Nian, Lin Anyu, and Qin Chen met up at the cafeteria. They all grabbed their food and sat down together at a table. Staring at Lin Anyu's food tray, Qin Chen let out a sigh, making her pitifully ask him what was wrong. She mumbled that her old trainer said she could eat whatever she wanted for breakfast, and Qin Chen quickly nodded in agreement. He told her she was right, since breakfast is a highly important habit. He assured her it was perfectly fine to eat more right now. Lin Anyu's anxious heart finally settled down as the three of them kept eating. They completely ignored all the judging stares coming from the surrounding students. One onlooker whispered to a friend, asking why the handsome new transfer student was eating with her, but the friend had absolutely no idea. They wondered how Qin Chen could have friends like her, but he completely ignored their idle gossip. Instead, right as Lin Anyu started on her second steamed bun, Qin Chen suddenly asked if she could spare one of those buns for them. Lin Anyu was pretty surprised, looking at him in complete confusion as she stuttered out a yes, but asked why. I smiled warmly at her. We haven't tried the buns from this stall yet. Seeing you enjoy it so much made us crave one too. Hey, would you mind sharing one with us? Zhou Nian, who already knew my exact tactics, nodded right along in perfect sync. Hearing that, Lin Anyu felt a quiet rush of excitement because absolutely no guy had ever asked her to share anything before. She handed over the bun. I quickly thanked her, split it in half, gave a piece to Zhou Nian, and took a sip of my porridge. I praised her, saying she really knows how to find the best spots. This tastes absolutely amazing. After eating, we headed out. Zhou Nian followed Lin Anyu straight to her classroom, leaving the poor girl totally confused. She asked with a puzzled look, "Why are you following me?" Zhou Nian just smirked playfully. Qin Chen told me to confiscate all your desk snacks, so here I am. Lin Anyu instantly started pouting. Are we seriously being this strict on day one? I always grab a quick bite after our morning exercises during the break. If you take everything, what do I do when hunger hits? But Zhou Nian saw right through her. Look, dropping weight is your goal. We are just here to help. Eating junk food will not get you results, right? Does that make sense? Lin Anyu bit her lip, steeled her heart, and muttered for her to follow. Back inside the classroom, Zhou Nian began cleaning out every single snack from Lin Anyu's desk. Spotting some sweet drinks, she reached for them too. Lin Anyu panicked and quickly stopped her, begging her to leave them. I hate drinking plain water. If you take every single thing away all at once, I am going to lose my mind. Zhou Nian decided not to push it, agreeing to leave just 2 bottles while taking everything else. She started heading out, but suddenly stopped at the door. Turning around with a cheeky grin, she spoke up. Oh, you know she is in serious trouble now. I actually ordered Zhou Nian to raid her dorm room tonight for hidden snacks too. Lin Anyu stood there completely frozen and helpless. Right on cue, Chen Miao Miao came rushing over to her. Hey, how do you know Qin Chen? Why were you eating breakfast with him? Do you have his contact info? Can I get his contact info? Lin Anyu was startled by her aggressive questions, furrowing her brow in slight annoyance. She stammered nervously, he is just helping me lose weight. That was her quick excuse. She secretly worried because she heard some guys went to Qin Shen's class to humiliate him yesterday, even though he handled them easily. If people find out he is working as a part-time trainer, will they look down on him? These classmates can be pretty brutal. But to her surprise, hearing about his coaching only made Chen Miao Miao get even more incredibly excited. I need to lose weight too. Can he train me at the same time? Girls nearby immediately burst into laughter, asking if she has even looked in a mirror lately. She is already skin and bones and still wants to drop weight. That is hilarious. Lin Anyu gasped in complete disbelief. She is as skinny as a rail and still dieting. Is there even any room left for me in this world? A guy nearby snorted, Chen, meow, meow. You want to lose weight with that tiny frame? Are you trying to float away? I bet this whole fitness thing is just an excuse to get close to him. You just want to cozy up to the handsome Qin Chen, right? Chen Meow Meow looked down, stammering in sheer embarrassment. She claimed she just wanted to tone up. Another guy offered to join her, but Lin and Yu just bit her lip. He is the boss here. She waved her hand dismissively, acting totally unbothered on the outside, but inside her head, she was screaming for Chin Chen not to agree to this. She absolutely did not want another girl trying to steal him away. Thankfully, the bell rang and class finally started. After class, seeing that my knee felt mostly healed up, I decided to head out for a light run. Meanwhile, after finishing her own run, a sweating Lin Anyu ended up walking straight into the campus convenience store. She quickly grabbed an ice cream bar along with another snack, paid up, and hurried right back out. Walking down the steps, she faintly heard a voice calling her name from behind. She assumed she was just hearing things. What guy would ever call her? But then came another clear shout. Turning around, she saw me walking over with a classmate she did not recognize. Her face flushed a deep, bright red. Talk about getting caught red-handed, she stood there completely frozen, feeling this hilarious wave of absolute guilt wash over her. I had actually tracked her down, feeling pretty smug because I knew exactly where she would sneak off to buy snacks. Caught you red-handed. I took a few steps forward, crossed my arms with a playful grin, and shook my head in mock disappointment. Seriously, you can't lose weight like this. And then I noticed the ice cream in her hand. I raised an eyebrow and teased her eating pretty well. Huh? You even got ice cream? Lin Anyu got so embarrassed she froze up completely. I didn't hold back at all, I just stepped right up and snatched those snacks straight out of her hands. Instead, I handed her 3 cartons of milk. She looked down at them, totally disappointed, giving me this incredibly pitiful, puppy dog stare. I smirked and told her you ate plenty this morning, and it's only been 2 classes. You aren't actually hungry yet. But if you really are, just drink the milk. I'm definitely not starving you. First, let's swap your habit of snacking during breaks with milk. We'll take this whole process step by step. She glanced at the ice cream, then back at me. Sensing my good intentions, she just gave a gloomy nod. Fine. She agreed to just drink milk when hungry. After that, we split up for class, and I waved goodbye, yelling, thanks for the treat. I'll gladly take this ice cream. Since you already snatched it, she sighed. What else can I even say? My poor snack. I didn't even get 1 bite. On the way back, my friend Yuze Cheng asked if she was the classmate I was helping slim down. He warned me that shedding those pounds wouldn't be easy because her starting weight was pretty high. He figured it would take forever. I just scooped up some ice cream, sighed happily, and told him I already knew that. I knew we had to take it slow. Believe me, rushing this never works. First, we fixed Lin Anyu's snacking, then we slowly cut down her lunch and dinner portions while adding some moderate daily exercise. No matter how much she actually ends up losing, she'll at least build some healthy eating habits. This will also lay down a solid foundation for her to manage her weight later. Once afternoon classes ended, I met up with Lin Anyu at the track. In late September, the evening breeze felt absolutely amazing. Under the gorgeous sunset, groups of students were casually strolling around. This was a world Lin Anyu had never really experienced. Honestly, she had barely ever set foot on this track before. Instead of walking outside, she much preferred hiding away in her dorm, eating junk food while reading web novels. But now, we stood together in the corner. Right next to us were pull-up bars and workout gear. Seeing Lin Anyu looking completely dazed by it all, I just chuckled. I explained that since I hurt my hand a few days ago, playing badminton with her was out of the question. So today, we're just doing some basic exercises. After she agreed, I told her to roll her shoulders and start warming up. Next, 70 sit-ups. Hearing this, Lin Anyu inexplicably breathed a sigh of relief. She quietly thought to herself that 70 wasn't too bad. She could handle that without totally embarrassing herself in front of me. After stretching her muscles, she obediently started her sets while I found a low wall to sit on and quietly monitor her progress. Before long, she clapped her hands and stood up triumphantly. Looking at her sweat-drenched face, I nodded in approval and asked if she was done. Not bad at all. Panting heavily, she kept fanning herself with her hands to cool down. I smiled gently and said, let's rest a bit, then do 70 squats. Hearing this, she instantly cried out, asking resentfully if there was really more to do. I nodded, highly amused. She steeled her resolve and muttered, fine, just give me 3 minutes to recover. After a quick breather, Lin Anyu started the squats, but by the time she hit 52, her body gave out. Her legs were burning, her muscles swollen, and her body felt incredibly heavy. She groaned that she was seriously too exhausted to keep going. She desperately wants to give up right now. Seriously, look at her stealing that pitiful glance at me. She thought to herself that she couldn't just quit. She refused to let me tease her, so she decided to go all in. Relying on her stubborn, unyielding spirit, Lin Anyu struggled through the squats. Seeing her fierce determination, I didn't tell her to stop. Instead, I just asked her while she was struggling through them, "How many squats have you done, Lin on you?" Gasping for air, she muttered 59. I replied in a teasing voice, reminding her she was still 10 short. She didn't say a word to my teasing. Instead, she just frowned, sped up, and finally finished every single squat. With the sun setting, we decided it was finally time to wrap up and head over to the school cafeteria for dinner. Lin Anyu was absolutely exhausted. Desperate to comfort her battered body with delicious food, she rushed to the counter and ordered a massive feast. After making several trips back and forth, she finally gathered all the food she wanted. The second she sat down, she noticed me just playing on my phone without any food. Confused, she asked why I wasn't eating. She joked about whether I was dieting too, asking if guys were really this competitive nowadays. I just put down my phone and smiled. Wait, how is that possible? I still want to grow. He blinked, suddenly realizing something. His eyes suddenly turned a bit red. Wait, shouldn't I be the one buying him dinner? He is my master now, after all. What is wrong with my brain? Looking pretty embarrassed and annoyed with himself, he immediately stood up and asked what I wanted. He offered to go buy it right away. I had absolutely no idea what he was imagining in his head. I glanced over, pointed at the spicy malatang, and asked how much it cost. Thinking I wanted a bite, Lin and Yu obediently replied that it was 42 bucks. Looks pretty good, right? I bet it tastes absolutely amazing. I nodded, casually pulled the food to my side, and told him that eating this after a workout ruins everything, so I would eat it. Lin and Yu looked quite depressed, but he did not dare argue back. He had no choice but to quickly finish up his pan-fried dumplings, then started on the egg-fried rice. Next time, do not make the malatang quite so spicy. He suddenly heard my slightly hoarse voice say. Lin and Yu glanced up, seeing fine beads of sweat on my forehead, and noticed me clearing my throat. He started feeling guilty, wondering what he should do now. He regretted ordering something so spicy. Honestly, I felt kind of bad for him. Then he hesitantly handed me his untouched watermelon juice. Who knew that the moment I took a sip, I would habitually start critiquing it? Next time, do not add so many meatballs. And how many portions of noodles are in here anyway? It is too much. I cannot finish it. And just like that, his guilt completely vanishes. Look at that smug face. He reached his hand out toward me, snapping that if I was so picky, I should hand back his watermelon juice. We finished eating while bickering back and forth. When Lin and Yu came back from returning his tray, he noticed a mobile transfer notification. He looked totally confused and asked me why I had transferred money to him. I put my phone away as we walked out, explaining that I confiscated his snacks this morning and would keep them, plus this covered dinner. Consider it settled. Lin and Yu quickly waved his hands, insisting I did not have to pay him. He knew it was for his own good. Seeing his goofy, naive look, I just had to tease him. From now on, whenever I catch you buying snacks, they are mine. You better behave yourself. If I see you buying too much food, I will intercept that too. But honestly, this is already me being extremely self-controlled here. Why so strict? Lin and Yu muttered, feeling pretty wronged. Reaching the fork in the stairs, I reminded him to go rest for a bit and that I would wait downstairs in an hour. We are running 4 laps around the track before bed. See ya. Hearing this, Lin and Yu felt his entire world go dark. An hour later, we met up at the track. Since Joe Nianian wanted to run, he tagged along with us. While those two started jogging together, I sat down on the bleachers to keep an eye on their bags. 15 minutes later, the workout ended, and they headed back to the dorms. Noticing Zhu Nianian was still following him, Lin Anyu asked exhaustedly if he was trying to steal his snacks too. Did you forget that Achen told me to confiscate your snacks? Lin Anyu groaned that this was just way too cruel. They will not even spare my dorm. Shaking his head, he insisted he had no snacks left. They were all in the classroom, and you already confiscated them. Zhou Nianian smiled half-heartedly and told him to cut the crap. Absolutely, nobody is going to believe that. Stop stalling and let us go. I have got video games to play. With those words, he literally shoved Lin Anyu all the way back to his room. With the roommate gone, watch this guy immediately start tearing through the drawers and shelves like a total detective on a mission. Sure enough, he successfully tracked down some snacks. Zhou Nianian hummed a tune, looking incredibly smug. His imported jerky and chocolates were gone. They might look handsome and pretty, but these two are literally straight-up bandits. Total bandits. Zhou Nianian grabbed a plastic bag, casually tossed the loot inside, then looked happily at Lin and Yu, saying he was leaving. Bye-bye. And with that, he proudly swaggered off with his loot. Lin and Yu glared angrily at his retreating back, muttering that they were a bunch of absolute demons. A bit later, his roommate Lu Jiajia returned, followed by Chen Miao Miao, whose eyes instantly lit up when she saw Lin and Yu. Hey Lin Anyu, can you give me Qing Chen's contact info? Someone saw you guys hanging out at the track today. She begged to work out with us. This girl is seriously persistent and clearly has not given up yet. Even though I had been put through Qing Chen's hellish training all day, shattering my rose-tinted glasses of him, Lin Anyu sighs, saying he has no interest in playing matchmaking middleman between Chen Miao Miao and Qing Chen, telling her to just ask him herself. But Chen Miao Miao refuses to back down, whining that it is literally the same thing and she just wants to make a new friend. She eagerly presses him, asking what he is actually like up close and if he is truly that gentle. Unwilling to gossip, Lin Anyu grabs his towel and completely changes the subject, muttering that he is fine before escaping to the shower. Watching him walk away, Chen Miao Miao stomps her foot in pure anger, cursing him under her breath. She fumes that he does not know what is good for him, wondering why he is so arrogant just because he met Qing Chen first. She mutters that she will find her own way. That night, as Lin Anyu lies in bed, he sees another bank transfer from Qing Chen. The transfer is even larger this time, with a text asking him to buy some imported German chocolate tomorrow. Qing Chen also adds a quick reminder for him to massage his limbs in bed, warning that they will definitely ache tomorrow. Lin Anyu replies that he is already dead, but I encourage him since he did great today. Reading this, Lin Anyu smiles without even realizing it. His mind drifts back to his previous, miserable attempts at losing weight. Back then, he barely survived a single week. Even with his mother ruthlessly watching his every move, he just ended up angry. He wonders how long he can actually last this time. Hoping he can actually stick with it, he groggily drifts off to sleep. And as you probably guessed, the next morning is absolute torture. His entire body is screaming in pure agony. He drags his aching body to class. Dieting is truly awful, and he completely hates it. He decides he is perfectly fine being heavy and wants to quit immediately. But just as he is wallowing, his phone screen suddenly lights up. It is a text from Qing Chen, reminding him that it is only day 2 and giving up is not an option. No matter how painful it gets, he has to keep moving. Instantly, Lin Anyu deflates like a popped balloon. He shuffles outside. What else can he do? He just has to push through. Quitting on day 2 would make him a total laughingstock, and he definitely does not want Qing Chen to look down on him. He dizzyingly pushes through the entire morning. At lunch, I wait for Lin Anyu to finish buying his massive meal, then very deliberately confiscate his white rice and the beef noodles sitting right next to it. Since he bought way too much, what else can I do besides reluctantly help him eat it? Suddenly, a thought hits me. I look over and ask him what he is doing this Saturday. Lin Anyu has no idea what I am plotting. He just blinks and says it really depends on the day. He says he sometimes goes home, so I take a sip of lemonade and ask where his place is. When I ask if it is in the city, he confirms it is right over by the Jingshu Gardens neighborhood. Zhou Nianian catches on to my plan immediately. He chimes in, asking Anyu if his place is not pretty close to the downtown library. Lin Anyu shakes his head and nods, leaving me completely confused by his mixed reaction. What does shaking and nodding even mean? He explains he has never been there, but he remembers. There is definitely a library downtown on Wutong Road. I nod, and Zhou Nianian smiles, calling it perfect before inviting him to hang out with us all weekend. He suggests we all go to the library to study, asking Lin Anyu if he is down for the plan. I watch Lin Anyu, who weakly asks if he can skip it, whining that he just wants to sleep at home all day. Honestly, we all know what happens when you don't have a supervisor on the weekend. He will completely lose control and overeat. If he comes out, we can study and eat lunch together, making it much easier to keep his diet in check. Lin Anyu mutters resentfully that we are crazy for supervising his diet even on his days off. He grumbles that we are way too dedicated. I just smile, take another sip of lemonade, and modestly thank him for the compliment. I point out it is just the power of cash. Zhou Nianian sees my greedy face and completely agrees. Smiling, Zhou Nianian tells Lin Anyu that the weekend plan is officially settled. We will see him tomorrow at 10 a.m. sharp. Lin Anyu gasps in surprise, protesting that he never actually agreed to anything. The three of us continue chatting and eating. Suddenly, 2 girls walk right over and sit down with us. They make themselves comfortable and enthusiastically greet Lin Anyu, calling it a total coincidence. Lin Anyu turns to see Chen Miao Miao and Yang Jialuo from his class. He just gives a reluctant, mumbled grunt, lowers his head, and goes completely silent. They ask why he is not introducing his handsome dining companion, calling him selfish. Hearing their obvious hint, I finally look up at them, while Zhou Nianian quietly watches the drama unfold beside me. Lin Anyu grabs a napkin, wipes her mouth, and introduces them, saying Chen Miao Miao and Yang Jialuo are her classmates. But before Lin Anyu can even say my name, Chen Miao Miao looks straight at me and speaks up first. She says she already knows me, the pretty famous new exchange student Qin Chen, and introduces herself as Chen Miao Miao. Oh, get ready for this. My heart completely stops because if I remember correctly, Chen Miao Miao is the fifth female lead here. Originally, she was my obsessed admirer, relentlessly causing all kinds of trouble for Du Yu Mo. But after seeing my true colors, she left Bei Cheng for good. Damn it, I have been way too relaxed lately. If she had not mentioned her name, I would have almost forgotten that I am actually the vicious male supporting character here. I completely forgot about it, and I have not even done anything yet. So why is Chen Miao Miao approaching me already? This is a bit annoying, but I still put on a friendly face to greet her anyway. She greets me, saying, "Lin, and you mention I am supervising her weight loss," and asks if she can join us too. I look her over carefully, frown, and tell her she is skinny enough. Why lose even more weight when being too thin is unhealthy? Hearing this, Chen Miao Miao looks a bit shy. She thinks he is seriously so handsome, even better than she imagined, and no celebrity can compare to Qin Chen. Coming here today was totally worth it, so she avoids my eyes. Fidgeting, she says she wants to build muscle, but her self-control is honestly not very good either. She asks to work out with us, but Lin and Yu silently fumes, not wanting Chen Miao Miao getting close to Qin Chen. This Chen Miao Miao is so freaking annoying. Avoiding any book characters, I tactfully tell her she should consult a fitness professional instead. I suggest she find a professional trainer instead, which leaves her quite disappointed with my answer. Being young, she simply cannot hide her disappointment, but still asks for my contact details. It is honestly so weird. Wealthy guys are always chasing and flattering her, and she usually handles them flawlessly, but Qin Chen is totally different. He is always so cold and distant, almost actively avoiding her, which only makes her way more interested. Seeing her look, I feel a bit bad, but I steel my heart and shake my head, leaving Chen Miao Miao looking completely crushed. She looks incredibly pitiful now, which leaves Yang Jialuo pretty surprised. The Chen family is a massive, wealthy powerhouse in Baixing, so everyone usually tries hard to get on her good side. Yet this guy is actually bold enough to reject her right to her face. Confused, Yang Jialuo asks why Qin Chen will not just add Chen Miao Miao's contact info. Lin and Yu wants to know too, thinking he should naturally prefer a tall, gorgeous girl like Chen Miao Miao. Without even looking up, I answer bluntly that I am just afraid she will fall in love with me. The air instantly goes dead silent, and Zhou Nianian literally chokes, spitting out his lemonade. He apologizes quickly, explaining that Qin Chen is just way too straightforward. He did not mean it like that. Honestly, Yang Jialuo has not seen such a confident guy in forever. I know, right? It makes so much sense she is left speechless, while I am terrified they will ask more questions. So I quickly stand up, grab my tray, and tell Chen Miao Miao we are finished eating. We will head out first, so take your time, and the three of us leave. On the way, Zhou Nianian teases me with a grin, saying it is pretty impressive getting confessed to already. But I reject her way too bluntly, apparently. I glare at him, asking how that was even a confession. I just refuse to give her my contact info, so he is totally overthinking it. Zhou Nianian sighs, roasting me mentally. He wonders if I seriously do not know my own charm, or if I am totally oblivious. He asks about the massive stack of love letters he was supposed to pass to me, wondering if they are for ghosts. Lin An Yu chimes in cautiously, saying Chen Miao Miao is actually quite nice, and her family is incredibly wealthy. She worries rejecting her might cause trouble, though I admit Chen Miao Miao is not bad. After all, with her high family status, what if her princess temper flares up and she makes things hard for him? I hear them, but I do not want to respond, giving a noncommittal sigh. So I change the subject, reminding him not to forget about our library plans tomorrow before making my way back to the classroom. But get this, I had absolutely no clue that the whole school already knew I rejected Chen Miao Miao when she asked for my number. Once I finished eating, I headed back to class. I casually unlocked my phone. Right on cue, an incoming call from my brother-in-law popped up on the screen. I picked up, and he told me that if Zhao Nianian and I were free this afternoon, he would drive over to pick us up for family dinner. But I quickly declined. I told him we would just rent an e-bike and ride back, but he immediately worried if that was really a good idea. He pointed out that our university is packed with wealthy kids who always get picked up in luxury cars, complete with personal bodyguards. He did not drive a luxury car, but he figured picking us up in person would save us some face. My mouth twitched, and I reminded him that he always told us never to compare ourselves to others. My brother-in-law, Lu Yanzhou, hesitated, arguing that since every other student got picked up by cars, riding humble e-bikes might make us feel embarrassed. I told him it did not bother us at all. I insisted he was overthinking things since our classmates are actually pretty easy to get along with, though Lu Yanzhou still sounded highly skeptical. Striking, while the iron was hot, I pointed out that school dismissal matches up perfectly with peak rush hour traffic. Zhao Nianian and I can easily weave through the streets on an e-bike, and those expensive cars probably won't even beat us home. Hearing my logical argument, Lu Yanzhou finally dropped the issue, telling us to stay safe on the road and text him the moment we got home. I promised him we would. We said our goodbyes, and then I hung up. As I sat back down, I noticed Yu Chang staring at me with a massive, gossipy grin, leaving me completely baffled as I asked what his problem was. Yu Kang took a long sip of his drink, set it down, and teased that he heard some lucky guy got confessed to in the busy cafeteria today. Oh yeah, the whole class knows. Right on cue, Lu Jingyan chimed in, eagerly dissecting the hot gossip right alongside Yu Kang. He noted that Chen Miao Miao is exceptionally pretty with that sweet girl next door charm, meaning she has endless guys fighting for her attention. But then Yu Kang shifted his tone, pointing out that I actually went and rejected her. He asked if my heart was made of stone, wondering how I could cold-heartedly reject such a sweet girl. I just laughed it off silently, but Yu Kang looked me up and down, teasing that our handsome Achen definitely has the looks to reject anyone. With a face and build like that, he definitely has what it takes. I rolled my eyes. I told him to shut up and stop talking so much nonsense. Yang Jiajia and some of the other girls had crowded around to overhear the drama, but they quickly scattered once they realized no spicy secrets were coming. When our afternoon classes finally wrapped up, everyone was ecstatic for the upcoming weekend. Students immediately started making plans to hang out. Zhao Nianian sent me a text, explaining she wanted to window shop with her friends first. Since Yu Zichang and Lu Jingyan wanted to kill some time to avoid the heavy traffic, they suggested a quick walk, and the three of us headed out. After strolling for a while, Yu Zichang and Lu Jingyan headed home, leaving me to go search for Zhao Nianian. I spotted her in a nearby boutique, and the second I walked inside, Zhao Nianian looked up and flashed me a bright smile. I stepped next door to grab some refreshing milk tea for her and her friends. When I got back, Zhao Nianian happily walked over, wrapped her arm around mine, and told me it was time to head home. Her sparkling eyes showed she had an absolute blast shopping, so I smiled, handed over the milk teas, and told her to pass them around. As Zhao Nianian started handing out the cups, I suddenly noticed that both Shi Yan and Yang Jiajia were shopping with her. I had never really looked closely at Shi Yan before, only knowing her by her legendary reputation. But using the friendly excuse of bringing over the drinks, I got a proper look, and wow, she was truly stunning. With a slender figure and flawless skin, her sheer presence alone was enough to effortlessly turn heads anywhere. And honestly, guys, she absolutely lived up to the title of school beauty. Sensing my eyes on her, Shi Yan turned to look, so I offered her a polite smile before turning back to help Zhao Nianian. Zhao Nianian quickly introduced me to the group, and we all politely exchanged greetings. Glancing at Zhao Nianian, I noticed her hair accessories and playfully asked if she had gone and bought even more hair ties. That single question instantly made every girl in the shop turn their gaze to her. I look at her, helpless. My dear ancestor, you already bought an entire drawer packed with hair ties. Seriously. I even have spares stuffed in my pockets right now. You cannot possibly wear them all. Your old ones are still fine. Why buy more? But my logic only makes Zhao Nianian absolutely furious. She stomps her foot. Then, she gives me a sharp kick, fiercely telling me to mind my own business. Who even asked you? Don't I need to save face? She pouts stubbornly, tilting her head for me to look, insisting she bought them simply because she likes them. She huffs that it is none of my business, comparing it to buying premium character skins in video games. Do you ever complain about having too many of those? Plus, I never nag you when you buy things, do I? So she tells me to stay out of a pretty girl's business, leaving me completely speechless. I can only grumble silently that she definitely nags me, and quite a lot, actually. Seeing my quiet surrender, Zhao Nianian snorts in triumph. She huffs and walks out. Since everyone is pretty much done shopping, they gather at the school gate calling their private drivers to come pick them up. Once the rides show up, we wave them all goodbye. By the end, only Huo Rui and Yang Jiajiao remain standing there with us. Now watch how this unfolds. Huo Rui casually asks how we are getting back, and the girls' reactions are just gold. Our ride is coming soon, so do you want a lift? No thanks. We are just riding an e-bike back. Yang Jiajiao looks quite sympathetic, asking if it is really okay that a handsome guy like Qin Chen has to ride one too. Zhao Nianian stares at Yang Jiajiao, completely speechless, asking what else we would do. Would you really have the heart to watch Achen take a taxi while I ride an e-bike behind him? Yang Jiajiao laughs, saying she absolutely could. Zhao Nianian just snorts and rolls her eyes. Seeing the girls getting ready to leave, I pull Zhao Nianian along to scan a rental e-bike and take off. We even wave at them as we breeze right past. Watching our retreating figures, Yang Jiajiao mutters to herself, wondering how Qin Chen manages to be so incredibly handsome yet have absolutely zero arrogance. She is seriously falling for him. Huo Rui agrees, noting that Qin Chen is always incredibly respectful and polite around girls. Suddenly, Huo Rui links arms with Yang Jiajiao, whispering that she actually asked Zhou Nianian before, and they are definitely not a couple. She encourages her to go after him, saying their chances are actually pretty good with Zhou Nianian around. Yang Jiajiao gasps. Really? They are not together? That is amazing, since she already likes Qin Chen. Seeing them eating lunch together the other day, she completely assumed they were a couple. She thought she had zero chance, but finding out they are just friends makes her incredibly happy. But just as Yang Jiajiao is celebrating, Huo Rui quickly drops a reality check, warning her not to celebrate too early. Just because they are not together now does not mean they won't be later. Hearing this, Yang Jiajiao instantly deflates. She begs her not to tease, since she really likes him. Meanwhile, Shi Yan watches my fading figure as she gets into her car, thinking that Qin Chen only seems to care about Zhou Nianian. No one else can catch his attention, and that doting side of him only ever shows when he is with her. Could he actually like Zhou Nianian? And let me tell you, that sudden thought brings a heavy wave of jealousy. She does not even understand why she is feeling so deeply bothered. Pushing the thoughts away, she tries to stop thinking about him. Meanwhile, completely oblivious to all of this, we arrive home around 8 in the evening. We pull up to my building, we part ways at the elevator. The moment I open my apartment door, a cute tuxedo cat leaps straight into my arms. I catch him and cuddle the sweet kitty. Then, a little girl with cute pigtails waddles over, stomping her tiny feet in jealousy at the cat in my arms. Auntie Lin Yi steps out of the kitchen, smiling warmly as she welcomes Achen back home. She laughs that she finally knows why little Yao Yao was so excited, telling me to rest while dinner finishes up in the kitchen. I tell Lin Yi not to worry. She nods and heads back inside while I set my cat Awu gently onto the floor. Next, I scoop up the sulking little toddler from the floor, and she happily wraps her tiny arms around my neck. Patting her head, I softly ask if she missed me. I missed Uncle, she says, burying her face. Her adorable voice warms my heart as she shyly buries her face into my shoulder. This sweet girl is Qin Yao. She is the precious daughter my sister Qin Cua and Lu Yanzhou had 2 years ago. Qin Cua makes her living at a finance fund, managing client portfolios, while Lu Yanzhou works as a talent agent over at Shengyao Entertainment. He manages a couple of D-list stars. Total nobodies. Hearing it made me laugh. I carried little Qin Yao over to the living room sofa, and the moment I sat down, my cat Awu squeezed against my leg, totally begging for attention. No choice. I had to pet the greedy little cat to calm it down. I asked the sweet Yao Yao in my arms if she had been a good girl lately and eaten properly, and she proudly said yes, she ate a ton. She insisted she was an angel, so I showered her with praise, calling Yao Yao the most amazing and obedient little girl in the world, always compliant, always perfect. Then she tattled to her uncle, complaining her mommy was being super mean. Whining that mommy was mean and daddy took her side, I looked at her amused and asked Yao Yao what mommy had done. She hesitated before admitting she got scolded because she absolutely hated eating her veggies and refused to touch them. I comforted her, saying she did not have to eat them, and shortly after, Lin Ye set the dining table and called us over for dinner. Right in the middle of our dinner, the front door suddenly swings open. Looking up, I saw a tall, gorgeous woman smiling from the doorway, and I happily cheered that my sister was finally back home. Qin Shuwei smiled and patted my shoulder, saying she missed me too, so I told her to wash her hands and join us. Perfect timing. She washed up quickly before taking a seat at the table with us. She grabbed the bowl from my hands to feed Yao Yao, asking me if I was adjusting well to my brand new school. Munching on a chicken wing, I replied that I was settling in just fine and that nothing crazy happened yet. Qin Shui grinned and teased me, asking if there was any wild aristocratic high school drama going on yet. I rolled my eyes and asked if she had been listening to my brother-in-law feed her ridiculous romance novel plotlines again. Qin Shui kept a straight face, claiming that's how every school story goes, with secret crushes and dramatic rivalries everywhere. All those cliches. Hearing her list those endless, dramatic chases made me facepalm and laugh. I realized my poor sister had been completely brainwashed by my brother-in-law's wild ideas. Since Lu Yanzhou works as an entertainment agent, his main job is literally selecting scripts for his celebrity roster. Reading constant dramatic scripts has made his imagination run completely wild. Reading tons of novels and knowing his good-looking brother-in-law was attending an elite academy made him spiral with worry. Zero sleep. He tossed and turned all week, constantly stressing over how anyone could actually study in a school like that. He kept worrying if Achen would get dragged into endless drama, wishing he had never agreed to the transfer. But the moment these two money-hungry siblings heard about the scholarship, they completely threw his warnings right out the window. Total freeloaders. Their eyes went wide as they joked about getting a completely free ride to school. Honestly, you have to laugh at his dramatic sigh, complaining that absolutely nobody in this family ever gives him any peace of mind. I honestly had to respect his insane imagination, so I told my sister she was overthinking everything. Just peace and quiet. Every single day, I just study and work out, and none of those ridiculous plots actually happen. Hearing this, Qin Shiyu sighed in relief, asking if it was true. She felt relieved, but then her expression shifted to a playful grin as she teased that Achen should really start looking for a pretty girlfriend now. Since I was in college now, dating was totally fine. Open-minded sister. Hearing that made me super flustered as I quickly shut her down. I told her dating sounded incredibly boring, and that being all clingy with some girl sounded like a massive headache. Complete silence. Qin Shiyu just stared back at me with that same teasing smirk. Feeling incredibly awkward under her gaze, I aggressively dropped a chicken foot into her bowl, earning me a glare of pure resentment. She froze instantly, looking down as I dramatically declared in my most annoying voice that wasting food was strictly forbidden, leading by example. We had to behave since Yao Yao was watching her closely. Qin Shiyu glanced at Yao Yao, let out a miserable sigh, and forced the chicken foot down, strictly adhering to the house rules they had agreed on. Absolutely no screens, no shouting, and no fighting around Yao Yao, since kids mimic absolutely everything they see their parents do. She learns from everything. Changing the subject, I brought up my library plans. I told her I was studying with Nian Ying tomorrow, but Qin Shiyu was confused why we could not do it at home. Taking a quick sip of my porridge, I told her a classmate of Zhu Yu wanted some help to lose weight. She was worried Anyu would binge eat over the weekend, so she invited her out to study and squeeze in some exercise. Qin Shiyu nodded. Qin Chen's weight coaching side hustle. She had always supported his business, but she couldn't help but wonder. Who exactly did Achen inherit this massive obsession with money from anyway? Qin Shiyue's eyes suddenly darted away as the realization hit her. Wait, it actually seemed like Achen took right after her. Not that she thought it was a bad thing, honestly. She sent him money every single month, and he made quite a bit from his part-time job too. So, why did the kids still act so incredibly stingy and refuse to spend any money? Snapping back to reality, Shiyue told him you handle your own schedule. With Nianing around, I'm not worried. Just keep your priorities straight. No rush to make money, his sister added. He just nodded, I know. Have a little faith in me, sis. Meanwhile, Lin Anyu returned home after school to a remarkably warm welcome filled with affectionate family vibes. Though it felt pretty awkward, she had to admit she was genuinely happy inside. Lin Anyu replied shyly, everything is great, nobody bullied me, so don't worry. Her mom smiled, saying she could see her baby had lost weight. She admitted she was hesitant when people first recommended Chin Chin. She never expected her baby to actually lose weight in just 1 week. Anyu quickly replied, I only lost about 2 pounds. Mom, there is barely any difference. Was this the legendary mom filter at work? Classic mom filter. She would always see her daughter as getting skinnier. Let's be real here, people told her Qin Shen was highly experienced, coaching chubby students to absolute success. She wanted to book him over the summer break, but he was already completely booked. Who knew he would end up at Zhu Yu as an exchange student? It was absolute destiny. After saying this, Xu Wan looked at her daughter with pure affection, thinking she was so lucky. Anyu had always been gentle and extremely shy since she was little. She was actually quite thin when she was younger. But after spending 1 summer in their hometown, she returned looking a bit chubby. Back then, Xu Wan was too distracted to notice before it got bad. Her daughter's weight was already completely out of control. But thankfully, with Qin Shen supervising her now, she lost quite a bit of weight in under a week. Just wait. She would definitely transform into an absolute beauty. Lin Anyu was terrified this attempt would fail, just like the others, so she tried to dampen her mother's high hopes a bit. This weight loss might not even succeed, she warned, so please do not blame him if it fails. Her mom replied, I won't blame him. It's just like buying a gym membership. Whether you show up is completely up to you. Mom knows. Don't worry. Lin Anyu nodded and headed upstairs while her mother waved her off, telling her to go rest. After taking a warm shower, Anyu lay down comfortably on her bed and scrolled through her phone for a while. Feeling quite hungry, she got up planning to find some snacks to tide her over. But guess what? The secret snack drawer where she kept her treats was completely and utterly empty. No other option. She goes down to grab a drink. But wait till you see what she finds in the fridge. There was nothing left inside except milk, yogurt, and a few healthy yogurt bars. Dejected, she rushed back to the living room. Sighing, Anyu asked her mom why all her snacks were gone. Her mom nodded. Qin Shen had already warned her. He is in charge at school, and I supervise at home. There are no snacks. but I did buy you sweet and sour yogurt bars. You can eat those if you really need a snack, but don't overdo it." This made Anu feel pretty depressed. She complained that she held out for an entire week and was utterly exhausted. Couldn't she just indulge this once? Around 9, after a relaxing shower, Qin Shen suddenly remembered her. He decided to send her a video call. Anu, who was happily watching anime, jumped in surprise and almost dropped her phone. Staring at the incoming WeChat video call, she was so incredibly nervous she panicked. Panicking, she quickly stripped off her pajamas, threw on a fresh t-shirt, and frantically combed her hair in front of the mirror. Qin Shen waited, frowning at his silent phone, before hanging up to text her if she was busy. Meanwhile, Anu was in a mad rush. She quickly tidied her messy desk, pulled out her homework, and laid it out perfectly to look studious. Once everything looked perfect, she texted back saying she was showering. He replied immediately, "You still have today's exhausting workout to finish." Anu groaned, asking if he was serious. Couldn't she just get a break? Defeated, she promised to start working out in a bit while he paused to think. "Stop putting it off. Since you are not busy right now, you need to start exercising immediately." He warns her she will just procrastinate until she forgets, demanding a video call to supervise. Reading that sudden text, Lin Anju completely freezes in shock. She quickly replies, asking if a video call is really necessary since it seems like just too much trouble. But I shut that down instantly until she builds a solid habit. I am supervising her, so she can forget about making excuses. Even though Lin Anju feels this is pretty unreasonable, she obediently starts the video call anyway. The moment it connects, my handsome face pops up on her screen, and my deep voice asks if she can see me. Lin Anju feels quite awkward, and seeing her own reflection on the screen just makes her feel even more self-conscious. She forces a smile, saying she can see me, then asks for a moment to change her shoes for the gym while I nod in approval. Swapping her shoes and grabbing her phone, she heads out to find her sister, Lin Wanqing, reading a magazine in the living room. Glancing up, she casually asks why Anju is heading out when it is already past 8 o'clock. Lin Anju looks at her sister, who is sitting on the couch reading that magazine. Taking in her sister's stunning profile, graceful figure, and smiling eyes, she suddenly remembers the high society banquets they used to attend together, always flattering her. They were constant brown-nosers. They would praise her sister for being gorgeous, talented, and successful, while only offering Lin Anju polite, pitying comments about looking blessed. She wasn't stupid. She knew those people were just trying to be polite, so she stopped going entirely, unable to bear that brutal contrast anymore. Snapping back to reality, she quickly shakes her head. Explaining that she is only going to the gym, she leaves Lin Wanqing looking pretty surprised. "Honestly, you and I both know getting Lin Anju to exercise normally takes a miracle, so why is she this motivated? Usually, she loses all patience at the gym in under 10 minutes, maybe lasting just 5 minutes more if her sister tags along to keep coaxing her. So her sister wonders if she should join her tonight to help her push through a little longer. She offers to tag along, but Lin Anju instantly shakes her head, rejecting the idea as fast as possible. There is no way she wants Qing Chen meeting her sister yet, fearing he will completely ignore her once he sees how stunning Wanqing is. Apologizing to her sister, she is relieved when Lin Wanqing simply nods, letting it go and telling her to have fun. Stepping inside the gym, a nervous Lin Anju tells me she is ready to begin. She begins her daily routine. I remain quiet on my end, only glancing at my screen occasionally while she pushes through her routine for almost an hour and a half. Wiping away her sweat, she collapses lazily onto the treadmill. She proudly tells herself that today's workout is definitely enough, especially since I was keeping an eye on her the whole time. Refusing to let me look down on her, she actually survives a solid hour and a half when she usually quits after 10 minutes. Feeling like absolutely nobody could criticize her effort today, she is completely stunned when I look up and ask her to run for another half hour. Disbelief. Just look at her face, those eyes are completely shocked. Is this guy actually insane? She has already been working hard for an hour and a half. No praise, just more work. Instead of a compliment, he expects another half hour. He is an absolute demon. I tell her that while she did great, she only burned today's calories, and pushing another half hour is where the real weight loss starts. Asking if she really wants to slim down, I see her hesitate and keep pushing, with even more encouragement. Every single workout is supposed to be a major breakthrough. True progress only happens when you push past total exhaustion. I tell her she can easily handle another half hour on that treadmill. This extra bit of exercise should be a total piece of cake for her. She takes a deep breath. Agreeing to rest for 5 minutes before running again, she completely caves to my relentless motivation and crushes that final half hour. Before hanging up, I quickly remind her of our plans tomorrow, warning her not to sleep in too late. Nabbing a weak response, she slowly drags her exhausted body home. The next morning, I wake up right at 8 o'clock. Throwing on a simple hoodie, jeans, and a casual baseball cap, I check my reflection and smile pretty smugly. Blessed with amazing natural genes, a quick touch-up is all it takes. After all, I am the story's main villainous supporting character. No chance. Without these looks, how could I compete with the actual male lead? I am simply too handsome. After appreciating my reflection one last time, I head downstairs to meet up with Joe Nyanian. By 10 minutes to 10, we arrive at the downtown library, making our way up to the second floor to sit down. Joe Nyanian even posted 2 pictures on her WeChat feed, writing that she wanted to sleep in on Saturday but got dragged out to the library to soak up some actual knowledge. She joked about being just a helpless baby who was totally suffering. Honestly, it was pretty funny. Not long after that, Lin and Yu finally showed up too. So the 3 of us studied together in the library for a while, before finding a spot to grab lunch. Lin and Yu was playing it smart today. She barely ordered anything, probably terrified I would steal her food again. I just stared at her plate and kept quiet. She was clearly on guard, expecting me to steal her lunch. But today, I decided to do the exact opposite. I just let her eat in peace. After all, she is going to have a brutal workout session tonight anyway. Whatever extra calories she is taking in right now, she is definitely going to sweat them out later. Just thinking about her struggle made me laugh out loud. I told them we would study until 6 p.m. and then head straight to the nearest gym to sweat it out. We can train until 8 p.m. and head home. I asked how that sounded and if a gym was nearby. I nodded, pointing out her membership worked at this chain. Lin and Yu agreed, saying she had to work out no matter where she was. No escaping it. So she just accepted her tragic fate. Right then, Joe Nyanian suddenly chimed in, asking if Lin and Yu had sneaked any late-night snacks. She immediately denied it. Lin and Yu complained that her mom had hidden every single treat, even sweeping the secret chocolate stash from the corner of her bedroom. Her mom swept it completely clean. Hearing her tragic complaints, I burst out laughing. I suggested that if she wanted a snack, she should stick to fresh fruit. Mixing diced fruit with yogurt is a pretty solid option. She should try it, but still watch her portions. Then, another healthy tip crossed my mind. If she got thirsty, she could stick to milk or yogurt. And once she got tired of those, she could finally level up to drinking tea. It is healthy and actually tastes great. Hearing this, Lin and Yu rolled her eyes, complaining she was only in her 20s. She claimed she was way too young to start drinking tea, but I told her anyone could enjoy it. I actually really enjoy tea, so she was probably just not used to the taste yet. Once lunch was over, we headed back to study. By the time I finally checked her Moments post, it was already 4 p.m. That was only because Joe Nyanian leaned in and whispered that her friends were currently hanging out at the Tianjin Club right next door. Want to go? I asked her how they even knew she was here. She explained she had posted on her Moments that morning, and when they asked, she told them she was at the downtown library. What a crazy coincidence. Since they were already nearby, they decided to meet up. Joe Nyanian then pulled out her phone to show me her WeChat Moments. The comment section was completely flooded, and many of them were our mutual friends. I asked her who exactly was going. She smiled and said I definitely knew them. It was Huo Ruyi and Yang Jiajia. Wait, it has only been a week. How did they get so close? They apparently went shopping yesterday and were meeting up again today. Now, you and I know Huo Ruyi is pretty picky with friends, so this felt extremely off. To be completely safe, I had to ask Joe Nyanian directly when they became so close. She explained they bonded recently because they were roommates who played games together all the time. That was how they became tight. Huo Ruyi seemed pretty cold at first, but she was actually very nice underneath. My sudden shout startled both Joe Nyanian and Lin and Yu. I was just so shocked to hear they were roommates. I offered an apologetic smile to calm them down, but Joe Nyanian just stared back in complete confusion. She asked if sharing a room was really that weird, wondering if I secretly disliked Huo Ruyi or why I was reacting so intensely to their living situation. She wondered if Huo Ruyi had somehow left a bad impression, even though we barely knew each other. So weird. Joe Nyanian stared at me, completely baffled by my reaction. Seeing her face, I quickly backtracked, explaining it had nothing to do with Huo Ruyi. We barely knew each other, so I was just caught off guard. I pointed out that Huo Ruyi was supposedly closest to Shi Yan, so they logically should have been roommates. How did she end up in a different dorm? She explained that Huo Ruyi was supposed to room with Shi Yan, but since Shi Yan hated sharing her space, plans changed. Huo Ruyi moved in with them instead. Joe Nyanian then quickly changed the subject, begging me to come along to the club. Please come. She looked at me with incredibly hopeful eyes as she waited. In the original novel, this library scene was just a minor side plot, so we should be totally fine here, no forced main character drama, right? Since our study and workout schedule was already running smoothly, a tiny delay wouldn't hurt anything. I agreed to go for just 30 minutes. At that word, Lin and Yu nervously gripped her backpack. She lowered her head, whispering timidly, "Can I just not go? There are way too many people, and I hate crowded places." Jo Nianian let go of me instantly. She linked arms to comfort her. "Do not worry. We will just find a corner to sit and chat, so you won't have to talk to any strangers. Nobody will force you." Lin Anyu hesitated for a brief second before nodding. The three of us packed our books and headed to the Tianxian Club. The moment we pushed the doors open, we spotted Hua Rui and Yang Jiajia sitting together at a window booth. Seeing us, they immediately waved us over. On a single sofa nearby, Shi Yan sat quietly, holding a glass of warm water. When Yang Jiajia saw me, her ears flushed bright red as she quickly stood up to say hello. Being outgoing as always, Hua Rui took the initiative and scooted over to make room for us. We had only been sitting for a few minutes when Chen Miao Miao and some of her classmates walked in. They spotted our table immediately and hurried over to chat. Greeting us as seniors, she smiled. But I gently yet firmly rejected Miao Miao right then and there. "I am so sorry, but all my energy is focused on supervising Nianian's diet and daily workout routine. I do not have spare time to guide anyone else. But look at this." Chen Miao Miao did not look disappointed. She admitted she had been way too stubborn before, always tagging along and bothering me. Now she planned to hire a professional fitness coach to get in shape properly, promising not to bother us. And then, things got really interesting when Hua Rui frankly explained a past misunderstanding to me. Seeing how I always protected Nianian, they thought we were dating, which is why she encouraged Jiajia to make a move. She apologized if it made me uncomfortable. "No big deal." I laughed it off. "Don't worry about it." Nianian and I basically grew up together like family. Sitting right across from us, Shi Yan heard this, and all her lingering bitterness instantly vanished. Looking me straight in the eye, she spoke up. She had always wanted to apologize for that basketball incident on the court. She was the one who recklessly blocked the ball, causing me to scrape my palms and knees. She said I suffered a lot. Honestly, it was just a minor scratch. Then, the sunset painted the sky. I stood up. "It is getting late, so we should head home first. Let's hang out another time." With that, I pulled Zhou Nianian outside, scanned 2 electric bikes, and we rode straight home. Surprisingly, Chen Zuo had stayed out of trouble. The guy who always gossiped, totally quiet lately. Seeing me buried in library books every day, he had long given up competing with me as the campus idol. Sometime later, we all met up again, and Chen Miao Miao actively walked over to chat with us. She had been working out with a trainer and even self-studying fashion design in her spare time. She actually plans to study abroad after graduation. For 6 whole months, she managed her diet. No heavy oils or sugars. She slimmed down easily and made plenty of new friends. She even secured a spot in an independent nutrition program. Meanwhile, Xian smiled, holding a rolled-up painting. She had just won the gold medal in a national art competition, completely silencing all campus rumors. Living freely, Jun Yanyan shook her wrist, showed off her colorful hair ties, and handed me a proposal. Unbelievably, we all won first-class university scholarships this time, and with my part-time job savings, we actually had a decent amount of money. Honestly, you have to love this. Why not partner up after graduation to open a fitness studio? Seeing everyone so incredibly happy warmed my heart. Just like that, a peaceful weekend afternoon rolled around. Lin Anyu held her college admission letter high, smiling at me. "Look, Achen, this is my admission letter. If you had not supervised me so strictly back then, I would still be trapped in my insecurities. I have finally found my life goal." Junyanyan shoved the business proposal into my hands, looking at me with eyes full of hope and expectation. She suggested opening a shop together to help other insecure students find their true self-worth, just like Anyu did. I slowly looked around at everyone beside me, feeling a deep sense of peace and warmth in my heart. I smiled and said yes. Just like that, all past misunderstandings were completely cleared up. Everyone was running toward their own dreams. The ones who took wrong paths turned back, and the kind-hearted got exactly what they wished for. The gentle sunlight fell over everyone as I nodded softly, smiling at my wonderful friends.